bits to talk about from a Tottenham in the look of a Tottenham update. And first up, we're going to talk about Romero. Jack Pickbrook says that Atletico, who had been leading the chase for his services all summer, have decided to stop their pursuit of Romero. In the end, Atletico had never formally approached Tottenham about signing Romero. At Atletico, they believe Tottenham will now tie down Romero to a brand new contract.
Which is massive news, considering this is, in UK terms, the Athletic reporting this, Jack Pickbrook, and that he's fairly reliable. I wouldn't say he's like on the level of some of the other journalists, but he's still pretty good. And the fact that he's reporting this is very significant, in my opinion. Obviously, we have heard reports now that was coming from AS that Atletico are walking away from the deal. They've grown frustrated with Tottenham's approach. So the fact that he's following on from that and he's heard something similar, that is really encouraging. I'm delighted with that news. Let's hope that the business Tottenham are doing can really convince Romero that Tottenham are really going the right direction and his future can remain here. There's still no word whether he actually would be willing to sign a deal or anything like that, but the fact we know that Tottenham would want him to. Let's hope we put the contract on the table for him and he thinks, okay, I'm going to commit my future here. That would be a massive coup this summer if we can keep him and not lose him, which I was kind of resigned to at one point. But let's see. I still think it could all change because we could put the contract in front of him. I think maybe at this point, the Tottenham feel, can we convince Romero to sign the contract? That's why we're refusing all these bids. And clearly that conversation hasn't come to completion yet. Yeah, when it comes to that.
AS have been reporting this, for a few days. They've also reported that Romero has rejected a contract offer. Maybe Spurs maybe I don't know if that's happened or not, but maybe Spurs are looking at that and saying that's before all these transfer deals have been in the works and Spurs have got this supposed investment and going to splash even more cash, and who knows, they're maybe showing signs of ambition and maybe they think that that's enough to maybe sway Romero into signing a new contract.
Which makes a lot more sense if that's what they're feeling. Then it makes a lot more sense that they're saying, look, we're not going to accept any bids until we've had this conversation with Romero and try and convince him. But I still think if he turns around and refuses to sign, I still think that this deal could be resurrected. I really do. So I think it all comes down to whether he's willing to sign this contract or open to signing a contract, I think.
It also depends on that stage if Atletico advance on any other targets, because we've heard that Atletico are looking at different options now in the centre-back position. So if they do advance on that target, then the Atletico move is going to be gone for him.
That's also true. So I think a lot of different things happening. It would be interesting if they go on to other targets. Is he going to be more open signing a contract if that happens, if that Atletico deal is off the table? So I think it's definitely encouraging, that report is definitely really, really positive, because I want Romero to stay. I think he's phenomenal. I know some people think, if he doesn't want to be here, or so a lot of people underrate him. I think he's on his day for one of the best centre backs in the league. I think would be missing him. We'll miss him a lot if he was to leave. I think we're not going to be getting a centre back near his quality if he's to go. I think he's a massive player in the dressing room as well. He's a winner. He's won so many trophies now in his career. When you put that Europa League on top of it with his World Cups and 2 Copa Americas, this guy knows what it takes to get over the line. And I think he's an important player for this club. We need him to stay, especially with Champions League football next season. So let's just hope we can get him to sign on that dotted line. That would be almost as big as another signing if we can do that.
Talking of Yoane Wissa, we did hear a few days ago now that the Spurs and Brentford have started club talks regarding Yoane Wissa. There's a bit more added to the story as Alec Crook says that Tottenham are still plotting a move for Yoane Wissa. Wissa is pushing for a move as well and is valued at £50 million, which, I think it's an absolute joke, £50 million. Graham Bailey says that Forest have had a bid turned down by Brentford for Yoane Wissa, but are continuing talks. They are battling other clubs, including Tottenham, to land the Congo star. And Sam Tabitao from the Standard, and obviously very close to the Brentford situation, says that Tottenham remain interested in signing Yoane Wissa this summer. However, Tottenham have not made contact with Brentford in over 2 weeks over a possible deal for Yoane Wissa. So, a few conflicting ones.
Yeah, and since then we've obviously moved for Kudus and we've moved for Gibbs-White in those last 2 days, but ever since that last contact with Brentford. So for me, I think Tottenham don't I think we probably have targets ahead of Wissa. That's what I assume. I think 50 million is obviously ridiculous. If they're going to stick to a valuation anywhere near that, we're not going to be getting this deal. We're not going to go through with it. It screams to me like a late transfer window, getting a good fee kind of deal to me, rather than one we're going to rush into. I reckon it's one if like I reckon we probably have other targets, and if we miss out on them, then we try and get Wissa out of Brentford. That's what kind of tells me. He might leave in the meantime to Forest. I don't think this is a target that we're desperate on missing out on. I just think it's a player we feel Frank knows. He had a good season under him, could be a good replacement for Richarlison, but only for a good price. I don't think we're willing to pay anywhere near that 50 million.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is, to be honest. We heard the Nottingham Forest, I think David Ornstein spoke about it yesterday. They're talking about a bit in the range of like in the low 20s or mid 20s, 20 million for Yoane Wissa. And I think that's a fair price for Wissa with 1 year left in his deal. If he's not going to sign one, they risk losing him for free. And I get it from Brentford's point of view. Like, they're on the verge of losing Mbeumo. They've lost their captain in Norngard. They lost 5 coaching staff members. They've lost their manager. They've lost their goalkeeper as well. So, I mean, they do need to try their hardest to hold on to whoever they can at this moment in time. So if that risks losing him for free, are they willing to do that?
That's the thing. I'll probably argue no, because Brentford are the kind of team that they need every kind of penny they can, and they probably, when it comes to someone like Wissa, you know, if it's, let's say if it's 30 million they could get, or someone's bidding, they can't really afford to lose out on that money. They're going to need that money, and they're the kind of club that would probably back themselves to reinvest it smarter for a player, maybe a younger player who has more resale value, that kind of thing. So I would imagine they would sell. But on the flip side, you could make the argument, if they do sell Wissa on top of Mbeumo, is that too much of a risk when it comes to their Premier League safety? And obviously Premier League safety is going to be worth a lot more than 30 million to them in terms of that. So is that the case? Is it too much of a risk for their Premier League safety to let go of Wissa? There's an argument to be had there, but I reckon they would probably sell him and reinvest it smartly, because they got great recruitment.
Just a quick update back on the Morgan Gibbs-White situation. Matt Law says that there remains confidence that Spurs will complete the 60 million deal for Gibbs-White from Nottingham Forest, despite a delay amid the accusation of an illegal approach from Tottenham. So that's something, I guess. But moving on, we're going to go and talk about Adam Wharton. GB News broke as an exclusive yesterday, and they said that Tottenham eye Adam Wharton to complete an incredible triple transfer swoop of 175 million after deals for Morgan Gibbs-White and Mohamed Kudus. Graham Bailey says that Tottenham are doing serious work on bolstering their midfield options. Both Douglas Luiz and João Palhinha have both been offered to Spurs, as they do appreciate both, but the club have other options like Adam Wharton. I mean, if Spurs could get Adam Wharton out of Crystal Palace this summer, what a major coup that would be. And if you could make a triple swoop of Kudus, Gibbs-White and Wharton, that has literally got to be the best transfer business we've ever done.
I mean, it would be incredible. Well, first of all, I don't know how, since when GB News started releasing exclusives on transfer business, which is a bit crazy, a bit weird.
I don't know when they reported on it and in general.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand how they're a source or whatever, but apparently they're starting to do transfer news now, so we don't know how reliable it is. But credit to them if Wharton, if there's genuine kind of bids or interest, then credit to them. There has been murmurings over the last couple of days about Adam Wharton. But it's mainly from, you know, ITKs and all these kind of these little rumours coming around about him. And so when we're hearing this news break, so you're feeling, is there something to these bits of information, these rumours, or is GB News jumping on the back of these rumours to try and manufacture a rumour or something? Who knows? But regardless of that, what a player Adam Wharton is. The only reservation I have about him is he doesn't have a great injury record. So that's a bit of a problem. But if you can keep him fit, this guy is exactly what we need. He's great defensively. He's brilliant with the ball at his feet. Great passing range. Unbelievable composure and awareness in the centre of the park. I think he's phenomenal. We missed a massive trick not getting him at Blackburn when we were heavily linked with him. He's gone on to Palace, and obviously the problem with that is they could be losing Eze, they could be losing Guehi. Does that heighten the price for Wharton? You'd imagine so. He's on a long contract as well. So, in the summer, I think, last summer or 6 months ago in January, they were quoting like 100 million or something. So, I mean, I don't know how much it would take to get him out of Crystal Palace because he's a phenomenal talent. But he does have a bad injury record. So that's obviously, that would put you off making a massive, massive bid for him, like in that kind of range of like 80 to 100 million. But I mean, for me, a good price with him would be about 60 million. That would be a pretty fair price.
60 million would be an insane price for him.
I think that's a good price. I think it's a good price. I think that's a fair price. Like, I think he's quality, don't get me wrong. Is he like, why he shouldn't be more expensive than Gibbs White? Like, I think that's a fair, for his injury record, but what he's shown is quality. If you're just talking quality, I think you could be talking about an 80 to 100 million pound player. But if you put in his injury record, I think 60 million is fair.
Whether that's fair or not, you're looking at the Palace situation. They don't usually let players go without a fight. They're going to command a massive fee for him, well over his market value. And with the likes of Eberechi Eze, who could be leaving this summer, I know nothing's really developed on that, but the rumours are Arsenal are hot on his tails. He's got a release clause of £68 million. If that gets triggered, plus Mark Guehi, who's got a year left in his contract, Liverpool have obviously been heavily linked with him, with Konate apparently looking for a way out of Liverpool as well. If those two deals get done, then the Adam Wharton deal becomes even harder to do, in my opinion. And look, Crystal Palace, they're not really in the business, or they are in the business of selling players, but they're not in the business of selling players easy. That's for sure. We saw how Wilfried Zaha kept Wilfried Zaha for so long. They always drive a really hard bargain for any of the players that they do have. So if you think 60 million is a fair price, they're going to be quoting probably north of 80.
Yeah, I don't think we can get this done. It's going to be more expensive than the two deals we've just done, or hopefully we'd get the Gibbs White one over the line. I find it hard to believe we could look. If you would have told me yesterday we're going to get Gibbs White, I would have said you're crazy, and we're looking like we could very much pull that off. So I would love this deal to go through. I think this would really complete the set of three phenomenal deals that really improve the team. I think Wharton is phenomenal talent, but I just think this is going to be too difficult. I can't imagine we're going to bid what's going to be required to get him out of Palace.
Yeah, I know. But if I told you 48 hours ago, then we'll be sitting here with two here we goes for Kudus and Gibbs White, you would have said I'm a madman.
Mm-hmm. It's absolutely right.
So
absolutely
you never know. Look, everyone's talking about this potential investment in Spurs, whether it's come from the Middle East or whether Enix put money in. Maybe it's both. Who knows? But if there is significant, they're talking about a figure of £300 million investment, and if that is true, then why not push the boat out for an Adam Wharton?
That's true. Maybe we're only just getting started.
Yeah, exactly. I would love him at the club. I think he would be an incredible player for us. I really believe that. And I think he has the longevity. And yeah, I know he's had injury problems last season, but I feel like he's young enough that he can get over those injury problems. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens on that situation. But it looks as though Spurs are looking for another midfielder. There's been another link to. Looks like we've rekindled our interest in Conor Gallagher.
Oh no! Not this again.
Journalist Javi Gomara out in Spain says that Tottenham aren't interested in Conor Gallagher, but a move to Spurs is seen as complicated, especially given his Chelsea connections.
So it's still the same situation as it was.
Newcastle are
He's going to move clubs, and it's not changed situation.
Newcastle are seriously considering a move for the player. Several Premier League clubs are interested. I can't see him leaving Atletico this summer. I think they've put him on monster wages, and I don't think any club are going to be willing to match those wages. And
DePaul's just left as well, so do they want to lose?
Has he actually left? Is that done?
Well, I think okay, I don't know if he's actually left, but I think he's on the verge of leaving. So I just can't. I'd be shocked if they let Conor Gallagher go very easily. They sign him for a good fee, or 40 million or so. So they're going to want a profit on that. Again, is it the whole thing again? He's a Chelsea boy. Does he want to come to Tottenham? It's still complicated. So I can't be asked to talk about it, to be honest. We've spoken about this bloody transfer for so long. We haven't spoken
about it for ages.
still the same situation. It's still nothing's changed. He's moved clubs and nothing's changed.
He's a Chelsea boy though, but he's left Chelsea now. Surely that's all gone and been and gone.
Apparently not. It's still complicated. That's what, if we're believing the report. I don't believe we're in for him, but if we're believing the report that we are, and this is still complicated, it's the same situation as it was a year ago.
I think the main topic here for Conor Gallagher and Spurs is the wages. he's on crazy wages. Like someone of his ability, and I think he's a good player, but someone of his quality and ability should not be on the wages that he's on. It's madness.
He wants to be Tottenham's highest paid player.
It's madness.
Yeah, get gone.
Last but not least, Matt Law says that Bissouma is one of the big names that is expected to be sold this summer. Not really groundbreaking news, but we thought we'd bring it to you anyway.
Yeah, and that's something that we've all expected. We know he's got a year left on his contract. We've just signed a couple players. We know we're lacking squad numbers as well. So the fact of the matter is he ain't going to sign a deal. This is our last chance to get any fee for him. So I think everyone is expecting him to leave. It's not a surprise.
Yeah. It does beg the question, though, with the rumours that Spurs are looking for another midfielder, with Gibbs White, seemingly nearly over the line, or what was nearly over the line. What's the situation now with the midfielders that we're going to keep at the club? Like, what's the situation with Bentancur and his contract? And what's the situation with even like a player like Pape Matar? Like, are these players' futures like very much in doubt at the moment?
Yeah. I wouldn't like to say yes, but we just have so little space in the squad. It's ridiculous. So I don't know how we've got, I think at the moment, like on the books, 32 players to fit into 22 spots. So we've got like 10 players we need to get rid of currently. Yeah. Either who would have been part of the first team, who are either homegrown, not club trained, but homegrown or foreign players who wouldn't be on the B list for the Champions League. We have like 10 players. So it's a ridiculous situation. We've mentioned it many a time about our lack of squad space. We didn't in our calculations. We didn't even envisage signing a 20-year-old centre back or probably even another number 10. You're thinking a number 6, right winger made sense, whatever, but a number 10. You would think, and maybe a kind of left back / centre back that can cover that role. We never did that. So we've kind of signed players blocking up more space in the squad while some issues haven't been addressed, and we're running out of space. So, I mean, we're gonna it's gonna be a major clear out essentially between now and the end of the window. But to be fair, that is true. But we've always said, we need we always did things the opposite way. Get players out, right, and then try and get players in once we've got all that business done. But now we're doing it the opposite way, which I think is a good thing. Get the players in, and then yes, it might weaken your position when it's selling players, but at the end of the day, we need to do what's best for the football team and the squad, which is getting the players that are going to be there, improving the team in first, and then you deal with clearing out after.
I was watching Ali Gold's interview video last night, and he said, assuming that Morgan Gibbs-White was a Tottenham player, he said that the squad size now is 32.
Yeah.
And we can only have a squad of 22.
Mm-hmm.
That's 10 players.
That's what I said, yeah.
10 players. That's nuts.
It's going to be a major clear out. But I'm saying it's a criticism we've always had of the club, isn't it? That we always do the outgoings.
It's just a messy situation, though.
Yeah. It is, and we get you have to pick out 10 players in that team who are going to have to leave, and there's going to have to be some uncomfortable players leaving, I think. And I just don't know who. I don't know who I'm comfortable about leaving. I don't know who it is. Is Bentancur or Saga both going to leave on top of Bissouma? I mean, we're just assuming Richie's going to leave. We don't know what's going on yet exactly with Son. Is Dragusin going to be out the door? We know someone like Solomon, there's just no space for him. Odebear, what are we going to do with him? There's just a lot of questions at the moment with very little answers. That's also forgetting that we might sign more players. And we want to sign more players. We probably need to. Yeah. So how do we sign more? While the situation is
squads, one for the Premier League and one for the Champions League.
Which maybe that's what we need to do. I don't know. And to be fair, a lot of teams are stacking up their squads at the moment in terms of just loads of talent. I don't know what their situation. I'm not fans of those clubs. I don't know what their situation is when it comes to get their squad space when it comes to Champions League. Are they in a similar situation to us? I don't know, in terms of having to maybe leave some players out. But I think I think it's madness at the moment.
There has been an exclusive from Ben Jacobs, which followed on from Matt Law talking about stadium naming rights, saying that something could be on the horizon regarding stadium naming rights deal. Ben Jacobs says that Spurs are close to finalising a stadium naming rights deal with Saudi entity, the front runner. Advanced talks taking place. Deal makers have put forward two companies, one PIF subsidiary and a secondary company, unaffiliated, legalities being explored so as not to conflict with Newcastle. Nothing guaranteed yet, as Spurs have spoken to American companies as well, but discussions are advanced. Senior government figures have been involved in talks. So, I mean, we've heard about these stadium naming rights deal pretty much since the stadium, well, even before the stadium opened. And it's always just been called the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But reports are suggesting that this deal could be closer than ever.
Yeah, and there was a few rumours flowing around from, again, a few ITKs yesterday, suggesting that ENIC had invested 120 million and that we're going to get this naming rights deal worth up to 300 million. That was the news from ITKs. Obviously, it's an ITK. You can't really take it seriously. You don't really know what's true. But now there are journalists starting to report something similar. Obviously, they didn't report the figures, but they're reporting similar about this Saudi kind of naming rights deal. So that kind of tells me maybe there is legs to it. Maybe there is something to it. Obviously, we never know what. Nothing's guaranteed. But if this is true, right, and we're potentially getting investment of like over 420 million this summer. That's maybe why we're seeing Tottenham maybe throw their financial weight around, because we know we have a massive PSR kind of windfall buffer. That's the word. We have a big PSR buffer, bigger than most other Premier League teams. So the issue for Tottenham is just having the cash available to kind of make use of that buffer, which has been the problem, ever since it's come in. So if we have the cash available now with this investment, maybe that's why we're willing to kind of push the boat out a bit and actually make these big money signings. We have to obviously wait and see how, if there's anything official comes out or any more reliable journalists, because at the moment it's Ben Jacobs is saying it and you've got Matt Law. I mean, they're not unreliable, but it's not enough to suggest this is definitely happening just yet. But clearly, I mean, it seems as though there's something happening behind the scenes, and we don't know the exact figures. But depending, what do you reckon the stadium's going to be called? What are we thinking of names?
The Riyadh Seasons.
The Riyadh
Stadium.
Seasons.
Something along those lines, but
it'd be a shame that if we have to change the name of the stadium, but it is what it is. If it's worth 300 million,
whatever they want to call it, it'll always be called White Hart Lane in our eyes. That's the reality.
And as long as it's got players like Kudus and Gibbs White playing in it, I'm not really going to care that much.
Yeah, exactly. There's just been a small update on Bissouma from Yagis Sabankoglu, obviously a Turkish journalist, and he says Fenerbahce representatives are currently in London to speak to Yves Bissouma, which is interesting.
So maybe this one has also got legs. We know we spoke about Fenerbahce's interest the other day. I think it was this journalist reporting it as well. We said we're theorising maybe Bissouma will get on really well with Jose Mourinho out there. We've also seen a lot of quite top players be moving to Turkey at the moment. So is Bissouma going to follow suit? Maybe he's not really put off. Obviously, I'm assuming they're in Champions League next season.
Yeah, they finished second.
So they'll
probably have to qualify, yeah.
Well, okay, they're going to have to qualify, but there's a good chance they'll be there potentially. So I think it could be a good move for him.
Well, you say that they finished second, but they finished second the year before and got Europa League. So I'm trying to think: is it only top that goes to?
Maybe they lost. I think actually I remember they lost. They lost in qualifying.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember Mourinho
so
lost.
them and Galatasaray both lost in the qualifiers. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Mourinho. Because that was one of his early games, and he lost in the qualifier. Wasn't great from him on that occasion. But yeah, we'll have to. Maybe they're upgrading. Maybe it'll be different. It's second season Mourinho, isn't it? So.
Is he going to finally break the Galatasaray chase?
Wouldn't be surprised.
We'll have to wait and see. The signings that Galatasaray are making, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Osimhen back, Sane on the wing.
I think Bissouma will be a good move for him. Go to Turkey, play in the Champions League with Jose. Good move.
All right, well, that is your Tottenham update, guys. Let us know in the comments section below all your thoughts regarding all the transfer news speculation that we have brought you today.